Marlon made a phone call to the Queen of Hearts and greeted her with a respectful "Hello, Your Majesty." He informed her that his son was coming out of the suite and that Claudette was in the library. Marlon then expressed his desire to speak with the Queen about something important. However, Marlon also mentioned that the dish his son was preparing was a delicate recipe that required time and patience. He jokingly added that his son was a fattening dish and might not be suitable for the Queen's diet. He warned her that the calories would go straight to her chubby thighs and that a minute on the lips would be a lifetime on the... Suddenly, the Queen of Hearts interrupted Marlon and exclaimed that Allah. She recognized Marlon, Mino, and Dora and greeted them warmly. She then turned her attention to Dora, who was wearing a pink dress reminiscent of Ariel from The Little Mermaid. The Queen expressed her delight at seeing Dora and admitted that she had always secretly loved her. The Queen giggled happily, and the conversation continued on a positive note, Dora expressing her surprise with a simple "gosh." However, her innocent exclamation was met with a violent slap from the Queen of Hearts, who then proceeded to yell at Marlon to remove his son Mino from the premises. In a fit of rage, the Queen even went so far as to slap the cake. Marlon, however, attempted to defuse the situation by addressing the Queen by her real name, Erasmuth, and reminding her that it was just the two of them facing off. He even added a touch of humor by referring to himself as a dashing terror of the high seas with a pan in hand. Marlon challenged the Queen to a duel, declaring in God. The Queen of Hearts exclaimed, "Oh dear, poor defenseless me," as she threw a pan at Dora. She then asked, "What is a girl to do?" and donned a ninja mask. Marlon cautioned her to be careful as she began to fight with swords. The Queen of Hearts then asked Marlon if he knew why she hated sharks. Marlon guessed that it was due to childhood trauma, but the Queen of Hearts corrected him and yelled, "No, Marlon, it's because you're out of date. You're fantasaurs. All that romance of the seas guff." Marlon tosses a spatula towards Dora, who is lying down. Suddenly, the Queen of Hearts charges towards Marlon, brandishing her swords. There you are," she sneers. "You look like you belong in a museum." With a swift motion, she slices a piece of ham at Marlon, engaging him in a fierce battle that sends them both leaping onto the table. The Queen of Hearts shouted, "Sing along with your little son." As she brandished her knife, Marlon reacted by hurling the dining table at her, causing her to slip and fall. Unfortunately, Marlon also lost his balance and fell to the ground. The Queen of Hearts growled in anger, shaking the table and using it to strike Marlon, who was now lying on a nearby dining cart. She then snatched up Mino, who was nearby. The Queen of Hearts remarked, "It's a pity you can't eat sharks." "Really?" Marlon hit the wall in frustration. She continued, "But you'd probably tasted barnacles. Whereas, dear child, Mino here is going to be absolutely delicious." Hank quickly intervened and saved Mino from the Queen's chopping block as she prepared to cut up a fish. Marlon, still upset, called out to Hank, "Why did you do that, you red octopus?" Walgill addresses Marlon as captain and throws him a catch. Marlon responds by calling Walgill number 2 and proceeds to cut sausages with a sword. Suddenly, the Queen of Hearts appears and demands that Marlon serve her son Mino as a meal. Marlon refuses and cuts the rope holding the barrels of vinegar, causing them to roll towards the Queen. She screams in pain and orders for everyone's heads to be chopped off. Dora quickly shuts the door, but unfortunately, a barrel of vinegar hits her. Marlon commends Dora for her quick thinking and said, "Good work." The nails are removed from the door, and Hank exclaims, "Oh." Suddenly, the dough bursts out of the door, and the Queen of Hearts appears. Marlon exclaims, "Gadzooks." As the Queen of Hearts seizes Mino, the dough slides towards the Queen of Hearts guards, taking out nails and windows as it goes, causing the boat to sink further. Marlon calls out to his son, Mino, but the Queen of Hearts continues to take him away. Marlon confronts the Queen of Hearts, determined not to let her take his son. Walgill calls out to Marlon, urging him to rescue his son. The Queen of Hearts throws Mino into the Zeppelin, and Marlon jumps in after him, chasing the Queen of Hearts. She taunts Marlon, saying goodbye to his beaky little friend. Marlon desperately reaches for the rope, jumping and shaking his hands in an attempt to grab hold of it. The Queen of Hearts watches with amusement as Marlon begins to climb, laughing as she turns to Mino and taunts him to bite the rope. Girl chimes in, announcing that the dumpy lady had Mino in her grasp. The Queen of Hearts continues to urge Mino to bite the rope, calling him an idiot and demanding that he bite it. Mino, however, surprises everyone by pecking the Queen of Hearts instead. The Zeppelin suddenly rips, causing Marlon to scream in terror. He calls out to Mino, referring to him as his son, as the little clownfish boy falls closer and closer to the blade. In a heroic move, Marlon manages to save Mino just in time. The Queen of Hearts grabs the torn part of the rope, causing it to start breaking apart. Marlon looks down at the blade, muttering barnacles under his breath as the rope continues to break. Just when it seems like all hope is lost, the tank gang comes to the rescue and saves Marlon from certain doom. Walgill congratulates Marlon and Mino on a job well done, as the Queen of Hearts relinquished the torn piece and soared away. Her ominous warning echoed through the air: "You will be outlaws across the globe. The bounty on your heads will surpass that of any shark before you. Your names will be infamous throughout the world." Despite the dire proclamation, Mino, Dora, and the tank gang erupted in jubilant cheers. Walgill warmly welcomed Marlon back, acknowledging him as their captain. With a sailor's hat in hand, Walgill embraced Marlon, while "Hank boisterously exclaimed, 'Hip hip hooray!'" Marlon proudly donned the sailor's hat, eager to embark on his next adventure.